Good afternoon, and welcome to our our fall concert of the Nashoba Symphonic Band. This is a 90-piece band made up of students and parents and neighbors and faculty and people from 41 different communities in the area. So we work together once a week, and we hope we will entertain you this afternoon with an all-American program. We've started out with Washington Grays, which is by Grafulla, and he was a Civil War band composer, and he went on at the end of the Civil War to form bands and start writing music that was more specifically for a concert group than just marching bands, just playing marches and stuff for the troops. So that was his famous Washington Grays March. You'll be hearing more from him in our concert in the spring when we're going to celebrate the wolves. We've got a wolf concert coming. We've commissioned and are having a world premiere of a piece in May, so you'll have to be aware of that. But Grafulla wrote a march that we're going to play on that program too. It's called the Freischütz Quick Step, and the Freischütz Quick Step has to do with the hidden haunted wolf glen. So that fits right in with the occasion. So we're going to move on to the American Overture for Band by Joseph Willcox Jenkins. He wrote this for the Army Field Band, I believe. And the American Overture for Band has no real programmatic value or programmatic idea to it, other than the fact that it was written in 1951, and people were just starting to write music that wanted to sound specifically American and not based on European sort of models. So the old-time band overtures from the bandstands in the summer and stuff were mostly European, mostly German and English overtures. So he meant this to sound very American, and it does. There's nothing specific in it that you'll recognize, like Yankee Doodle or anything like that, but it's a very American-sounding march and very uplifting. And this is one of my favorite pieces, and I think it's one of the top pieces that's being played, that has been played over the years by American bands. This is the American Overture for Band by Joseph Willcox Jenkins. We're going to move along to one of the highlights of our program today. We're going to be doing Aaron Copland's very famous Lincoln Portrait. And it gives me great pleasure to bring to the stage to narrate this piece one of the selectmen, Allison, who will be coming up now, and he'll be reading the words of Abraham Lincoln.
Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. That is what he said. That is what Abraham Lincoln said. Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. We of this Congress and this administration will be remembered in spite of ourselves. No personal significance or insignificance can spare one or another of us. The fiery trial through which we pass will light us down in honor or in dishonor to the latest generation. We, even we here, hold the power and bear the responsibility. He was born in Kentucky, raised in Indiana, and lived in Illinois. And this is what he said. This is what Abe Lincoln said. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate for the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. We must disenthrall ourselves, and then we shall save our country. When standing erect, he was 6 feet 4 inches tall, and this is what he said. He said, "It is the eternal struggle between two principles, right and wrong, throughout the world. It is in the same spirit that says, you toil and work and earn bread, and I'll eat it, no matter in what shape it comes. Whether from the mouth of a king who seeks to bestride the people of his own nation and live by the fruit of their labor, or from one race of men as an apology for enslaving another race, it is the same tyrannical principle." Lincoln was a quiet man. Abe Lincoln was a quiet and a melancholy man. But when he spoke of democracy, this is what he said. He said, "As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. Whatever differs from this, to the extent of the difference, is no democracy." Abraham Lincoln, 16th President of these United States, is everlasting in the memory of his countrymen. For on the battleground at Gettysburg, this is what he said. He said that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. And that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth.
We're going to take a short intermission now. Thank you again, Jason. That was absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much. And we'll be back with our symphony after the break. See you in 10. Thank you again to Jason Allison for that wonderful words of Lincoln. Yes. Moving along, this is a piece that I've wanted to do for a long time. There are 3 or 4 major symphonies. You never think of that when you think of band, but beginning in the 1940s and 50s, serious composers began to be commissioned to write pieces for symphonic band and concert band. A lot of the colleges did, and a lot of the professional bands, like the Goldman Band, for instance, commissioned a lot of pieces, and we've played them over the past 9 years. And also commissioning works in the early 1950s was the West Point Band, because they were coming up with I think 250th anniversary year. I get all of these dates all messed up. But one of those sorts of things. And they commissioned a whole bunch of people from around the world to write pieces for them. Among those were Paul Hindemith, of all people, and Howard Hanson, and just a lot of, and Copland wrote a piece just for them. But one of the major works that they wrote that was written for this was a West Point symphony. It's a symphony number 4 by Morton Gould. And now Morton Gould, a lot of you will remember him from pieces like American Salute, based on When Johnny Comes Marching Home, that's played often. And Morton Gould wrote a lot of music for Broadway and for theater and for early television and a lot of film scores and things like that. But he wrote this piece specifically for the West Point Band. And he was trying to capture some of the aspects of of West Point itself without writing something corny. And the problem is that the minute that you start to write something and you're given a theme, you end up with writing stuff that sounds like sticking together a whole bunch of Army songs, or sticking together a bunch of this or a bunch of that, and it just turns out to be a medley that really isn't very interesting at all. It's just, it might be fun to listen to because you say, oh, I know that one, but it's more interesting indeed to be thinking about the concepts and about the depth of things that we should be thinking about when we think about something like West Point, who has been training men and women for years and years and years, and there's almost not a military bigwig that we can think of on certainly both sides of the Civil War, through the Spanish-American War, through the First World War, the Second World War, the astronauts, through the Surgeon Generals. Just if you look up West Point and you look at a list of the people that have graduated from West Point that are in different positions, it goes on for pages and pages and pages, and they're all names that you recognize. And so it's that important a place, and has educated that many people that went on to serve us and serve our country in so many ways. The first movement deals with sort of the spirit of those who have gone through the school and served us in, as I said, many ways. And it's sort of the ghosts of those people. It's talking about memorials. It's talking about, we hear things like taps. We hear things like the Dies Irae, which some of you might recognize from other pieces, which is the part of the Mass that has to do with the funeral Mass, the Dies Irae. And it actually means the day of wrath, but it comes through in little bits and pieces. You may recognize it. But partway through, what gives me the chills is, and it reminds me a lot, actually, those of you who have seen The Lord of the Rings, when Aragorn goes down into the paths of the dead, and the dead follow him out. It gives me sort of that same eerie feeling of the people that are following in one another's footsteps that have been, just so important in the past. And you're going to hear the footsteps in this first movement. And I challenge you to be thinking about the spirit of those who serve, the spirit of those who give, the spirit of those who have just given so much to us and to our country, who we're at West Point. And I'd like to share with you this poem that was written. This is just the first movement. I'm going to stop between movements for a moment and talk about the second one. But this is called The Corps. The Corps, bareheaded, salute it, with eyes up, thanking our God that we of the Corps are treading where they of the Corps have trod. They are here in ghostly assemblage, the ranks of the Corps long dead, and our hearts are standing attention while we wait for their passing tread. The Corps of today, we salute you. The Corps of an earlier day, we follow, close order behind you, where you have pointed the way. The long gray line of us stretches through the years of a century told, and the last one feels to the marrow the grip of your far-off hold. Grip hands with us now, though we see thee not. Grip hands with us and strengthen our hearts. As the long line stiffens and straightens with the thrill that your presence imparts, grip hands, though it may be from the shadows, while we swear, as you did of yore, or living or dying, to honor the Corps and the Corps and the Corps. The second is based on two drum cadences, which sounds like a sort of a silly thing to say, but there's two major drum cadences that are used in marching music. And the first one you're going to hear played by winds, not by the percussion, but by the different instruments in the band. And the first one goes something like da-da-da-da-dot, 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 right? That's the same. That's what you would hear in a parade. And the second one is one that goes. I can't find it right this minute. Like so, and you're going to hear that articulated in the different instruments as well as the percussion. So it's just called marches, and it has little bits and pieces of all kinds of the different eras of marches from the Civil War and back to the Revolutionary time, because the first band at West Point was, of course, a fife and drum corps. So you hear that, and you'll hear some Civil War type things. Again, it's not quoting songs. But anyway, second movement of the symphony, just called marches. All right, we're going to conclude today's program with a medley of marches that actually is a medley of actual things that come from West Point, which is the official West Point March. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for coming today. I'd like to thank everyone who supports us, including all of the different cultural councils that give us grant money, and the administration and the custodians and everybody here at the high school. We couldn't do it without everybody, including your support. Our next concert is February 8th, and we're going to be playing the big one is a set of 4 pieces called the Divine Comedy, which is a really, really interesting set of pieces written specifically for concert band. And we're going to, then in May the 4th, we have commissioned a piece by Robert Sheldon, who is a world-renowned composer of music for concert band. He's written for professional bands for all over the world, and for different like all-state bands and college bands, and as I say, professional bands from all over the world. And we're very, very pleased that he was able to do this piece for it. It's called The Wolves of Nashoba. And we're planning a whole week of activities that are going to go around this wonderful new piece. And we'll keep you all informed of what's going on with that. This is the beginning of our 9th season. It was 9 years ago this weekend that we had our first concert in this auditorium. And next year will be our 10th anniversary year, so we're planning big stuff for that too. And so anyway, make sure that you join us on February the 8th with a snow date the next day, which happens to also be the Super Bowl, so we're hoping that we can do it on that's why we're having it on the 7th and not the 8th, because I was told there's no way you're going to have this. And I said, but it's at night. And I said, yeah, but no. Well, we could have pre-concert parties too. Anyway, but I doubt it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. We've enjoyed playing for you. And here's the West Point March. This is one of my favorites, the official West Point March. See you on the 8th of February. Thank you so much.